The Federal Bureau of Investigation has identified 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks as the shooter in the assassination attempt of former President Trump at his campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The FBI has identified Thomas Matthew Crooks, 20, of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, as the subject involved in the assassination attempt of former President Donald Trump on July 13, in Butler, Pennsylvania, the FBI said in a statement to Fox News Digital. Senator Rick Scott, Republican Florida, said after the assassination attempt of former President Trump that the incident requires immediate answers from DHS and the Secret Service. The assassination attempt on President Trump and murder of an innocent American demands immediate answers from the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and the U.S. Secret Service, Scott said in a statement. It is a miracle that President Trump is alive and well, but absolutely inexcusable that the deranged would-be assassin had a direct line of sight to the former president and the leading candidate for president of the United States. The U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs, HSGAC, has an oversight responsibility and an obligation to the American people to demand answers from DHS and the U.S. Secret Service on how this happened and what steps are being taken to investigate this assassination attempt and make sure it never happens again, he continued. Chairman Gary Peters must immediately hold a HSGAC hearing before August 1st, with testimony from these agencies and deliver the answers that we as U.S. senators and the American people demand and deserve from our government. The security of our republic is being questioned, and we as a nation need answers. Eyewitnesses who spoke to CNN on Saturday described an awful scene following a shooting at former President Donald Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, in which one person was killed and two others injured in what's being investigated as a possible assassination attempt. A man who spoke before Trump at Saturday's rally told CNN that he jumped over a barricade to comfort an individual who was bleeding after being shot. Rico Elmore spoke to CNN as he walked away from the rally stage. His white shirt was stained with blood from the victim, whom he said he did not know. Elmore described jumping over the barrier and putting his hand on the head of the attendee who was shot. All we know is shots were fired, and then I jumped over the barrier and put my hand on the guy's head that was profusely bleeding, Elmore told CNN. He said he didn't know the attendee and he was just a stranger. Elmore was visibly shaken up, but said he was not harmed. He said he only saw one attendee hit and did not see what happened to Trump. The former president said on Truth Social on Saturday that he was shot in the ear, but his campaign said he was otherwise fine. The Secret Service said hours after the shooting that one rally attendee is dead and two others are critically injured. The gunman shot from outside the rally and was neutralized by the Secret Service, spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said. A law enforcement source and a police officer at the scene told CNN the shooter was positioned on a building rooftop just outside the rally venue. The source said the building was the same one where CNN had seen a heavy police presence following the shooting. The building would have been to Trump's right as he spoke. It was all of a sudden just chaos. Senate Republican candidate Dave McCormick was sitting in the front row of the event. McCormick told CNN he saw the immediate attack on the president and a person behind him who appeared to be severely injured. McCormick told CNN that Trump had just announced him and invited him up to the stage, when about a minute later he heard a series of shots, about 7 or 8 shots, just pop, pop, pop. It was all of a sudden just chaos. The Secret Service immediately covered the president, jumped on top of him, and the crowd immediately went to the ground, McCormick said. McCormick said he looked over his shoulder behind him and it was clear that somebody had been hit. People around the man were trying to administer first aid, he said, as it took several minutes for medical assistance to get into the crowd because it was so dense. But you can imagine with that kind of incident happening, it's very hard to know what's coming. It seemed like the shots were coming from my front. So the president's left, which makes sense why the person behind me was hit. But I'm not sure if there were also shots coming from the other direction. So as you might imagine, it was chaotic and confusing in the moment, McCormick said. McCormick said he and all of the roughly 15,000 attendees in the crowd went through metal detector screening before they entered the rally. Republican Representative Dan Moiser told CNN he was sitting in the front row with McCormick and fellow Pennsylvania Representative Mike Kelly, with the spectator who was fatally shot, no more than 20 feet behind them. Everybody started, certainly, screaming, asking for a medic, and honestly, it was a bloody scene, Moiser said. It started out like a regular rally. President Trump came in, took pictures, and spent a little bit of time. He came out, he was speaking no longer than 6 or 7 minutes, and next thing you know, there was rapid fire. It was pretty obvious, after the second or third gunshot. What was happening? The congressman said. We weren't sure if there were others. I mean, when you hear gunfire like that, it sounds like you don't know where it's coming from, Moiser added. A lot of people were very panicked, but fortunately, they settled down after a little while, particularly when President Trump, honestly, stood up and gave a thumbs up. That kind of calmed the crowd a little bit. Speaking with CNN, the congressman also made a plea for civility going forward, saying, "We've really got to remove the hostility. I think everybody agrees. We need to cool things down. It's pure insanity." Joseph Mine told CNN that a man near him was shot. Very shocking. A lot of people just thought it was fireworks going off. I knew immediately it was gunfire, Mine said. Mine, a surgeon from Grove City, Pennsylvania, told CNN he helped carry the man out of the bleachers. I was at the far right of the podium, where the people sit in the front. I was filming him, Trump, speaking on my phone. Just as I was panning back, I heard 7 gunshots in rapid successions, in under 2 or 3 seconds, Mine said. Mine said he looked back in the direction the gunshots had come from. I saw a man in the bleachers was hit directly in the head and died instantly. There was a woman who was hit in the hand and forearm, a non-critical wound. He said he went over to see if he could render any aid, but another doctor was already helping the woman who'd been shot. I helped carry the body of the man out of the stands. They took the body to the tent behind the bleachers, Mine added. CNN reached Mine as he was waiting to give a witness statement to the FBI. They want the data off my phone, he said. This is the first Trump rally I've been to. You don't anticipate this stuff to go on. It's pure insanity. President Joe Biden said he is grateful former President Donald Trump is safe after a shooting at his rally in Pennsylvania. Speaking from Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, about 2 hours after the shooting, Biden said, "There's no place in America for this kind of violence." It's sick, the president added. With the apparent shooting threatening to further inflame political rhetoric in the months ahead of November, Biden took the opportunity to call for the country to unite. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this, he said. Biden and Trump spoke late Saturday night. A White House official said, the shooting, which is being investigated as an attempted assassination, according to law enforcement officials, left Trump bleeding from the ear. A spokesperson said the former president was doing fine and being treated at a medical facility. The suspected shooter and at least one rally attendee were killed, Butler County, Pennsylvania, District Attorney Richard Goldinger told CNN. Biden was attending Mass at St. Edmund's Catholic Church in Rehoboth Beach when the shooting occurred. The president is due to return to the White House late Saturday night, cutting short his planned weekend in Delaware. He'll receive an updated briefing from Homeland Security and law enforcement officials on Sunday, the White House official said. The shooting marks a massive turning point not only for the country, but for Biden's role as president. He entered the church as a president fighting for his political future and exited in a familiar role. The nation's counselor-in-chief now tasked with bringing the United States together during a serious crisis. The shooting at Trump's rally is a shocking turn in what has been a highly charged political season for both of the major party candidates. Biden has pitched the race as the decision between the continuation and possible destruction of democracy in the United States. That rhetoric will now be closely examined in the aftermath of the apparent attack, including comments that the president made in a call with donors on July 8, during which he said, "It's time to put Trump in the bullseye," according to a summary of the call provided by his campaign. Biden said in a statement earlier Saturday that he was praying for Trump. "Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it." Inside Biden campaign's response. Moments after the incident, Biden campaign officials huddled and decided to pull down all TV ads and limit their public campaign messaging. Biden's campaign manager Julie Chavez Rodriguez and chair Jen O'Malley Dillon sent a note to campaign staff Saturday evening in the immediate aftermath of the shooting, urging staff to refrain from issuing any comments on social media or in public. "We're also asking everyone to pause any proactive campaign communication across all platforms and in all circumstances until we know more," they wrote in a note, which was obtained by CNN. Chavez Rodriguez and O'Malley Dillon began the note by saying that as more information comes in, they are grateful to the members of law enforcement who immediately jumped into action and wishing Trump a quick and full recovery. Mood inside the White House is shock. The mood inside the White House is shock as officials responded to the shooting, according to a senior administration official, and who added that officials wanted to be responsive and serious. Biden's chief of staff, Jeff Zients, sent a brief note to White House staff Saturday evening, saying that the president was closely tracking the situation and would continue to provide updates, according to the note obtained by CNN. Biden told his staff that he wanted to address the nation as soon as he was briefed, according to a source familiar with the matter. "It is just really horrible," the senior administration official said, responding to how the reaction has been within the White House following the incident. "It should never happen. It's unconscionable," a senior White House official told CNN.